Waters are fast-moving.
Unlike other big rallies,
A bit earlier at about 7 a.m., a group from the Coast Guard.
Welcome to #PH Vote 2013.
Today on Rappler, the Philippines will need at least 361 billion pesos or a little more than $8 billion after Typhoon Yolanda.
However long it takes, the United States will remain committed. We will work closely with our friends in the Philippines to rebuild this region.
U.S. State Secretary John Kerry announces an additional pledge of $24.6 million for rehabilitation. And European nations will deploy more troops to help stop the violence in the Central African Republic.
Hello, I'm Maria Ressa. Welcome to Rappler, your social news network. More than a month after Typhoon Yolanda, known internationally as Haiyan, the government releases its rehabilitation plan for the biggest reconstruction effort after World War II. Paterno Esmaquel reports.
When nature's fury rages, people run to the nearest school building. But rehabilitation czar Ping Lacson wants to turn hospitals into permanent evacuation centers. Lacson says a hospital has everything evacuees need.
Yun ang pinaka-practical na gawin mong evacuation center kasi naandun na eh. Dadagdagan mo na lang ng ibang components kasi may hospital na ngayon, may mga doktor, may pagkapat.
This is part of an ambitious plan, Reconstruction Assistance on Yolanda or RAY, the blueprint to rebuild the lives of more than 16 million people devastated by Yolanda.
Through RAY, we are not just settling for the minimum. We do not want our countrymen merely to make do. We are taking this chance not just to rebuild what was destroyed, but again, more importantly, to build back better.
The government needs around 360.9 billion pesos to rebuild devastated regions. Half of this amount will go to rebuilding homes. Up to 28.4 billion pesos will go to public infrastructure, like hospitals and schools. Aquino says the country is ready for this historic rebuilding.
The reasons for this confidence? First, because we know that we are not alone. The second and most important reason can be found in the attitude of the thousands of volunteers and relief workers I saw. An attitude that states with the utmost certainty, our failure means the suffering of our fellow man, and therefore we cannot fail.
But the government faces early challenges, like Lacson having no power over the budget. The government needs to address these hitches because it will take more than a blueprint for millions to rise from the ruins. Paterno Esmaquel, Rappler, Manila.
During a visit to Tacloban City Wednesday, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry announces an additional pledge of $24.6 million or 1.1 billion pesos for rehabilitation. This is on top of the $62 million earlier provided by the U.S. government and aid agencies. The new pledge will be used primarily to provide clean water, sanitation, food, and shelter to residents and relief workers. In a speech, Kerry describes the typhoon's devastation as, quote, like a war zone. He also praises the resilience and strength of survivors.
Last month's typhoon broke the world's heart, but what is certain is it didn't break the spirit of the people here. The determination to rebuild and to remake what was inspires all of us. However long it takes, the United States will remain committed. We will work closely with our friends in the Philippines to rebuild this region.
House Energy Committee Chair Reynaldo Umali says Energy Regulatory Commission Chair Zenaida Cruz Ducut should take a leave of absence out of delicadeza after she was implicated in the pork barrel scam. Ducut is named in the second batch of graft complainants on the pork barrel scam. She allegedly served as liaison between Congressman and scam mastermind Janet Lim Napoles, earning commissions from every fund endorsement received by fake NGOs. Critics also call for Ducut's resignation after her agency's suspicious approval of Meralco's power rate hike over a 3-month period. Ducut earlier snubbed the House Energy Committee's hearing on the proposed staggered Meralco rate hike approved by ERC. An election lawyer asks the Commission on Elections, or COMELEC, to recall its order asking 424 local officials to leave their posts because of deficiencies in their Statement of Election Contributions and Expenses, or SOCE. Lawyer Romulo Macalintal says a resolution the poll body recently issued provides, quote, no more reason or basis to cite Section 14 of Republic Act 7166 as the ground to order these elected officials to vacate their elective positions. All candidates should submit their SOCEs 30 days after the election. Those who fail to file on time will pay an administrative fine. But COMELEC Resolution number 9834 says the payment of late penalty by the candidates, quote, does not constitute the administrative fine as stated in the law. Because of this, Macalintal says there is no more violation of the SOCE rules, which could be the basis to remove or order an elected official to vacate his post. A U.S.-based watchdog says 2013 is the second worst year for reporters in prison. The New York-based Committee to Protect Journalists, or CPJ, says 52 journalists were killed this year, down from 73 last year. For the second consecutive year, Turkey was the world's leading jailer of journalists, followed closely by Iran and China. Those countries account for more than half of the 211 journalists imprisoned around the world in 2013. Let's now look at Rappler's Wrap for today, a list of the 10 most important events around the world you shouldn't miss. At number 6, France says other European nations will send troops to the Central African Republic to help disarm violent militias. French Foreign Minister Laurent Fabius tells the lower House of Parliament in Paris, quote, we will soon have troops on the ground provided by our European colleagues. He did not name the countries. Central Africa spiraled into chaos after a March coup where the mainly Muslim Seleka rebel group overthrew President Francois Bozize. France deployed its troops on December 5 under a UN mandate to support an African peacekeeping force. At number 8, Hollywood filmmaker Casey Neistat had $25,000 to spend for the promotion of the film The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, but he decided to use the money to help survivors of Typhoon Haiyan in the Philippines. The movie promotion budget provided 10,000 meals, tools for 35 villages, and medicines. Neistat also dedicates the video to the victims of the typhoon, whom he calls the most resilient people he has ever encountered. And at number 9, Nelson Mandela tops Google's list of the hottest searches for 2013, a look at the spirit of the times, or zeitgeist, online. Google Senior Vice President Amit Singhal says it's perhaps unsurprising that the number 1 trending search of 2013 was an international symbol of strength and peace, Nelson Mandela. Second in the global top 10 list is the Fast and Furious film star Paul Walker, who was killed in a car crash last month. Apple's iPhone 5S comes in third. For the full top 10, visit Rappler.com's The Wrap. The University of the Philippines holds its annual Lantern Parade Wednesday. This year's celebration also serves as an outreach event dedicated to soliciting aid for victims of the super typhoon that devastated the Visayas. Rappler's intern Apa Agbayani is at the UP Diliman campus for this event. Apa, what's it like there?
Maria, the mood is really festive here at UP Diliman. We've seen a lot of lively performances from the various colleges and organizations of UP, and we've seen some really beautiful lanterns this year. But behind this festivity is really a sense of solidarity with the victims of Typhoon Yolanda. All of the organizations and all of the colleges integrated themes of relief and rebuilding in their lanterns this year. So you get a real sense of solidarity and a real sense of purpose here in UP Diliman tonight.
Why is this such an important event for all the students of UP, Apa?
This is the way that UP celebrates Christmas, through making paroles that are floats, and it's really a beautiful celebration. There's a lot of lights, there's a lot of festivity here today.
And given that it is for the victims of Typhoon Yolanda, has it dampened the Christmas spirit?
I'm sorry?
Has it dampened the Christmas spirit, given that it's also for the victims of Typhoon Yolanda?
I don't think so, because apart from the festivities, really a sense that everyone here is here to help the victims of Typhoon Yolanda. A lot of the materials from the lanterns will be donated to the victims of Typhoon Yolanda, and they're also raising funds. So
Okay.
it's still very festive, but it's, yeah.
Okay, Apa. Thanks so much. We've been speaking with
Thank you.
Apa Agbayani from the UP Diliman. Every story on Rappler has a mood meter, which gives you 8 emotions to choose from. Click how you feel, and your vote comes down to the mood navigator in the middle of the front page. That crowdsources the mood of the day. It also gives you the top 10 stories that have affected our readers and viewers the most. These 10 stories have gotten the most number of votes on their mood meter. If you take a look today, it is an interesting mix, green and blue. Very different from yesterday's red. Just last night, just around this time, 24 hours ago, you had Miss Philippines wins Miss International 2013. It is the story that's gotten the most number of votes. You have 82% happy. And just now you heard from hashtag Lantern Parade from Apa Agbayani at UP Diliman, and look at an interesting 79% happy. This green pushed out in the mood of the day. Today, most people are happy. That is Rappler's Newscast for today, Wednesday, December 18th, 2013. Visit Rappler.com and watch our newscast Monday to Friday. Tell us how you feel on our mood meter and help us crowdsource the mood of the day. I'm Maria Ressa. As we say at Rappler, tomorrow begins today.